My name is Theresa El-Amin. I'm a regional organizer for the Southern Anti-Racism Network. That we were able to achieve something we didn't think we could achieve, which is to keep the American Renaissance Conference out of Charlotte. We were putting out the message for months now that American Renaissance was not welcome in North Carolina. And thanks to the people of Charlotte and all the hotels in the area, it was proven to be true. Thanks so much to the Queen City, Charlotte-Mecklenburg, for allowing us to have Mr. Ratchford here to tell us his views.
In the work that I do, we have found that those who choose to discriminate or to practice racism are very subtle and sophisticated in the way that they carry the racism out. And very often victims of racism have no idea that they have been victimized. We have found that those who engage in something that we call have a nice day racism, or racism with a smile and a pat on the back. And very often the victims of that racism have no idea that they've been victimized. And I want to take a point of privilege to show you what I'm talking about. With my work with the Municipal Racism Committee, we enforce the city and the county fair housing laws, which prohibit discrimination in housing practices. And very often we will get a complaint that a particular housing complex or apartment complex is discriminating against African Americans. And we actually have testers that we will send out to test this to see if there's truth to that. And we get a black tester and a white tester, and we make them essentially through script, we make them the same person. They have the same income, same family size, same job, same credit report. The only variable is skin color. And when they go out, this is what happens. The black tester goes in first. He's welcomed with open arms. He's taken on a tour of the apartment complex. He's allowed to fill out all of the necessary paperwork. He's introduced to all of the staff. He's offered cookies and milk. However, at the end, he's told we don't have any vacancies that are immediately available. However, we would love to have you as a tenant, and so we're going to put your name on the waiting list. And as soon as something becomes available, we'll give you a call. The black tester then leaves. As he's leaving, the white tester is coming in. And the white tester gets the very same treatment, except at the end, the white tester is told, we have vacancies that are immediately available, and you can move in tomorrow. Now, after the test, the African American who was treated very nicely has no idea that he's been victimized, and that is the way that it formulates itself these days. There's a second way that it goes on through something that we call linguistics profiling. And we actually had a case recently when an African American female went by an apartment complex. She saw 4 vacant units, and this is on a Sunday. On Monday, she goes into work and she calls the apartment complex to inquire about the 4 vacancies that she had seen. And the voice on the other end of the phone said, I'm sorry, we have no idea what it is that you're talking about. We don't have any vacancies. And so she hangs up the phone. She goes to her white female co-worker and she says, will you call this number for me? The white female calls and she's immediately told, we have 4 vacant units. When would you like to come and apply? The black female comes to our office, she files a complaint, we notify the respondent of the complainant. With that, we conduct a test, and sure enough, the test verified that the discrimination was going on. And the case was settled with the black female getting the apartment that she sought to rent, free of rent for a year, and a $25,000 settlement. Yes. And the reason I share this is that over the years that I've done this work, and I have been doing it for 30 years, I have found out that most racists, regardless of how racist you are and how much of a right you think to carry out this insidious behavior, if you take their money, it is amazing, the behavior changes. Take the money and the behavior changes. Racism. My personal definition of racism is that racism is an insatiable need and desire to hate. An insatiable need and desire to hate. That's all it's about. Now, there are some other definitions of racism and race. One is that race is a system of categorizing human beings for the purpose of assigning rights, privileges, and resources. And the other is that race is an economic construct that is designed to confer advantage and disadvantage. It is about money, you all. It is about money. And very often, racism says a lot more about the person who's a racist than the victims of that racism. I mean, if you are in fact superior, you don't need to go around telling everybody it should show. The fact that you have to continue to tell everybody says that you're a person with low self-esteem, and the way your way of making yourself feel better is to put other people down. That's what it's all about. Charlotte-Mecklenburg is a very diverse community. I'm glad to see that we have a very diverse group here today. And I want to talk briefly about what diversity means. When we look at diversity, we should look at something that we call primary dimensions of diversity and secondary dimensions of diversity. Primary dimensions of diversity are those things that you're born with and over which you have no control. They include things like your race, your gender, your age, your physical ability or disability, or your sexual orientation. Now, I've had many folks tell me, well, you shouldn't include sexual orientation in a list of things that you're born with. I happen to believe that you're born with it for this reason. If you think about how badly we treat gay people, I cannot imagine anyone purposely choosing to be gay so that the rest of us can treat them badly. It doesn't make any sense. It would be like someone being born during slavery time and saying, I'm going to purposely choose to be black so that I can get some of that good slave treatment. It doesn't make any sense, you all. You then have what we call secondary dimensions of diversity. And secondary dimensions of diversity are those things over which you do have some control. They include things like the way you may choose to dress, the way you wear your hair, your political philosophy, your religious philosophy, your choice to be married or not, your choice to have children or not, but things over which you as an individual have some control. And when I look at diversity in that way, it expands the concept, and what it means is that I can have a room of all white people, but there's still great diversity in the room. I can have a room of all black people, but there's still great diversity in the room. Okay? Scientists on their work on the human genome have determined that human beings, no matter where we come from on the face of this earth, genetically, we are 99.9% alike. And it is amazing how we seem to place much more importance on the 1/10 of 1% that may be different. Now, what this means is that genetically, you and I are probably more alike than the gentleman in the back here with the glasses than you and I are. Bottom line, there is no such thing as race. Racism is about an insatiable need and desire to hate, and it says a lot more about the person who is the perpetrator of the racism than it does about the person who is the victim. These are folk who have low self-esteem, just don't feel good about themselves, and their way of trying to lift themselves up is to try to put others down. Thank you very much, and again, welcome to the Queen's Club.